Soccer Nation, welcome back once again. It's your host, G-Man, as we continue with our 2016 team-by-team NFL preview. Today we're going to talk about those Minnesota Vikings. They had a horrific end to the season last year, a game that they dominated, should have won against a team that everyone considered better, but for Blair Walsh's miss at the end, you actually feel bad for Blair Walsh. He was a hell of a guy, stood up, took it. He won't miss that kick again. I see big things in the future for the Minnesota Vikings. I don't think it was a fluke starting at the top. I think the best thing they have going for them is their coach. Mike Zimmer showed after years and years as an assistant that he knows how to be a head coach. He's not an offensive coach. He left the offense to their own devices, ball control, don't turn the ball over, let his defense win, and they did early and often. So I think Zimmer is the real deal. I think he's going to have them back on track again this year. I like Teddy Bridgewater more than most people. He's not going to put up the numbers for the simple fact that that's not how their offense is designed. I know he had the fewest touchdown passes of any quarterback last year, but that's not what they want him to do. I think he could do it. I think he could throw 25 touchdown passes if they wanted to run their offense that way. There's no reason for it. Be smart, check down, run when you have to. Teddy does all those things very well. I think he's going to take that next step in his progression. He's a winner. He reminds me of Brad Johnson, right? No gaudy statistics, but he's going to help you win. Adrian Peterson is inhuman, and I say that as the best compliment in the world. I have an outstanding bet with a couple different people, so if you were listening to this podcast, I do remember the bet. I said before the beginning of last year he would get 4,000 yards over the next 3 years. I got poo-pooed and laughed at because he's so old. First of all, he's 31. Secondly, he missed an entire year 2 years ago. Thirdly, again, he's not human. This guy came back 5 months after a knee injury and rushed for 2,000 yards. I mean, he's unbelievable. He's a beast. He still fumbles a little bit too much, but you live with it because he's so great at everything else. The receiving core got better when they drafted Laquan Treadwell, but again, they're not going to kill you with their receiving core. Kyle Rudolph, they're all going to be adequate to good, do what they need to do, maybe catch passes in the red zone, but they're not going to be superstars. The offensive line, very good and only getting better. Now, I don't know how much of that is a factor of Adrian Peterson, but their offensive line certainly helps them win games. What really wins them games is their defense. All their defense. From the front seven to the back four, everybody does their job and does it well. Harrison Smith is an animal. They have 2 rush ends. Chad Greenway re-signed for another year. They don't have a weakness on defense. When you pair all of that with a tremendous defensive coach, they may not put up gaudy numbers. They may not try to turn you over, but they are not going to give up points. And I have all the faith in the world that Minnesota is going to be right back where they were this past year, and hopefully Blair Walsh makes that kick. I have them going 11-5. I think they win that division. I think it's possible that Green Bay also goes 11-5 and there's tiebreaker action. But I'm very impressed with Minnesota. I think they're a team on the rise, and I think there's no reason to think that it was a flash in the pan and they won't replicate what they did last year. From Mike Zimmer on down, I think this is a team to watch. And with your 2016 team-by-team preview of the Minnesota Vikings, I'm your host, the G-Man, and I am out.